Welcome back, everyone. Phoenix 3 here, and today I just wanted to talk about some stuff that's kind of been on my mind. This here is mostly going to be Pokken tournament related, but I thought I would give a shout out to Flygon right here. If you guys didn't know, Flygon was actually supposed to get a Mega Evolution. It actually didn't get one because the Game Freak had art block. Yeah, that's the reason. They said they could not find a good design for Flygon, that they didn't know how to design it. And that sucks because one of my friends, he really loves dragon types. And he really wanted to see Flygon get a Mega. I think he might have wanted Dragonite or I think he might have wanted Dragonite more, but I think he really wanted Flygon to have a Mega. Though he did get Mega Salamence, though. But I feel Flygon should have been one of the Pokemon that should have got a Mega. And that's mostly part of the problem that I have with Mega Evolutions. Is that if a company like this, who has people at their whim for the most part, they got resources that they can pull, and they couldn't find one person or a collective group of people to come up with a design for Flygon, then that's sad. The reason I was against the idea of Mega Evolutions to begin with was because I felt it was an unnecessary change to Pokemon. I wasn't on the whole Digimon hype that everybody was like, oh, they're just turning Pokemon to Digimon. I wasn't one of those people. But I did feel that this here was going to be a way to alienate a whole lot of Pokemon that actually deserve some competitive viability versus the ones that already do have it. And my whole thing at the time was, well, instead of giving Pokemon Mega Evolutions, because obviously not every Pokemon is going to have a Mega Evolution, why not just add those stats into a Pokemon that can really use those stats? Like, if a Pokemon's Mega Evolution would give a Pokemon at least, I believe it was at least 90 for some Pokemon, but some Pokemon got 100. But if a Pokemon was going to get, we'll say, 100 base stat increase to its all-over stats, then why not just apply it to its basic form? Instead of giving, let's use, what's a Mega that's not Pidgeot? I'm pretty sure you guys are tired of hearing me talking about Pidgeot, but I don't care. But a Mega that's not Pidgeot, let's say, I'm using Manectric as an example. Instead of using Mega Manectric as an example, or instead of giving Manectric a Mega Evolution, just take the 100 points you would have given to Mega Manectric and just give them to regular Manectric. You don't change things like abilities. You don't change the Pokemon's design. You simply just make a Pokemon that can use a competitive boost a little bit better. And this works for every Pokemon. For example, if any of the evolutions need a base stat increase, then give them a base stat increase. You don't have to give them Mega Evolutions. That's the way I feel for a lot of Pokemon. That Mega Evolutions was going to have a lot of bias because only popular Pokemon were going to get them. And that's true. A lot of popular Pokemon got Mega Evolutions. And you really shouldn't have a meta game catered to just fan favorites. I believe every Pokemon should equally have a chance to be competitive and go from there. However, I do think these changes should only apply to like the final forms of certain Pokemon, or just final forms of all Pokemon really. And some Pokemon that don't evolve, like Zangoose, would also get a competitive boost, but we won't expect something like Eevee or this Oshawott that's sitting over here in the corner, and this little small dragon right here. We wouldn't expect those to get base stat increases. But things like Vaporeon to get a base stat increase. So I was thinking like a 50-point base stat increase to Pokemon that don't evolve, like Zangoose. Probably non-legendaries that don't evolve, I should say. Maybe 70 points to Pokemon that evolve once, like Evolutions. And 100 points to a Pokemon that has a final stage evolution, like Pidgeot. But only ones that can actually use it. Things like Pidgeot, Beedrill, Butterfree, those Pokemon who have weaker base stat totals for being a final evolution, but we won't give something like Garchomp an additional 100 points because it doesn't need it. It's already a pseudo legendary by standards of competitive Pokemon. And I feel this here would have been a much better way to balance the actual Pokemon games versus just say, hey, let's give a couple of Pokemon megas and just kind of see what happens from there. I really didn't like that. I mean, megas are obviously here to stay, and I'm glad that they're part of the Pokemon series. But I think there was a much better way of balancing Pokemon or giving Pokemon competitive needs. Man, and this screenshot right here, man, am I the only one thinking that this Eevee is way too big? Because, I mean, this Eevee is almost as tall as Flareon. Like, we have to keep in mind, Eevee's a foot tall. This Eevee here is at least an additional 1.3 feet tall. Eevee shouldn't really be that big. I mean, because Flareon's height looks about right. So does Jolteon. I believe Vaporeon, Umbreon, and Glaceon are the tallest evolutions, standing at 3 feet 3 inches. The rest of them kind of float between like 2.4 and 2.7. But going on to the next thing, the whole remainder of this is going to be Pokken Tournament related. Now, I have a lot of concerns about Pokken Tournament. Now, these are not good concerns. These are actually kind of confirming some bad stuff that I think may happen. I don't know if the community thinks this. For one, the assists Pokemon thing, I don't have a problem with it per se. I just don't think I'm going to care too much for the pause that it creates for the actual battle. You know, you call out the assist, the game goes to a scene where the Pokemon comes in and then do the move that they're going to do. I don't know if that pause is actually going to be that bad or if it's actually going to hinder gameplay. Because in other games that have pauses like that, we really don't see a pause where the actual camera cuts away from the main battlefield to show another character. And that's kind of what it does here. I know some people said, well, in fighting games and Street Fighter and stuff, they have pauses, but the pauses don't actually ever cut away from the actual main camera. I believe in Street Fighter 5, they have the specials where it zooms in on the character. And even on Tekken 7, it has the exact same things. But it feels different here because this game isn't really inherently combo intensive like Tekken or Street Fighter. So to have something cut away from the action like that could really throw off somebody's flow. Now, only time can tell when we actually get the game and we can just kind of start learning the ins and outs of it and stuff like that. So that's just a small concern that I do have with it, is how distracting is the assist feature in the game. Another thing that is vaguely disturbing to me is that they had a character poll for what Pokemon people wanted to be in Pokken Tournament. I was completely unaware of this. And this poll was only exclusive to Japan, which is another problem that I have with this game. The problem that I do have is Pokemon has a very large audience here in the West. And our opinions should also matter on what type of Pokemon make it into this game. Because let's be real here. The Asian markets have completely different interests than we do in Pokemon. They simply do. A Pokemon that's popular in Japan, for example, Audino, might not be a Pokemon that's popular here in America. Evolutions are pretty much popular worldwide. They're always a good pick for any Pokemon product if you want to do anything internationally. But a lot of Pokemon that are popular in Japan simply aren't popular here, and vice versa. So there is a very strong chance if this poll, because I haven't seen it, I can't even find any information on it. But assuming that this game does come out, assuming that Pokemon is released for this game based on the poll, tomorrow when we get any new information, if they are showing off new Pokemon, they can be completely based off of Japanese polls, which means not one Western vote has ever been seen for this poll. That's worrisome because I don't know, like Pokemon means a lot to me, and Pokemon means a lot to a lot of people here in America. People really want to see their favorites get into the game, and just knowing that the only people that got to vote for any characters that they might have won in the game are strictly Japanese means that this game is pretty much going to have nothing in it for us. And I really think this here is an inappropriate way to approach this, just considering how popular Pokemon is worldwide. It might be different if this here was a Japanese game that kind of got ported to America. You know how most Japanese games are. But this simply isn't the case here for Pokemon, because Pokemon is, well, it's a worldwide thing. We all want to see our Pokemon playable in a game like this. This is also the reason why I feel certain Pokemon got put into Smash, like Jigglypuff, Pichu, Pokemon like that. Like Pokemon I didn't really think were popular here in America, but these Pokemon are extremely popular in Japan. And that's part of the problem, is that I really don't want the entirety of Pokken Tournament to be exclusively based off of information from Japan. This here is kind of why I wanted Pokken Tournament to have a open beta based all over the world, but had the game ported to Wii U game consoles, or just game consoles in general, to where we could still play the game, give our feedback on what characters that we wanted in the game, and go from there. Like, as of now, I'm just making YouTube videos and hoping that they see these videos in Japan, hoping that there is a mediator between the Pokemon community and the developers of Pokken Tournament worldwide. Because I spent a lot of time on Harada's Twitter. I, for some reason, can't tweet him. Maybe there's I don't know. I'm not going to try to make up a reason here. I simply just don't know. But I've never once seen anything referencing a character poll for Pokemon that they wanted in the game. I have no idea who's on this poll. People are talking about it, but no one's actually seen it. And I want to see this poll because I really want to know who's on it. So it's said that any Pokemon that will be revealed may be based on the information that they got from the Japanese Pokemon community. It's not all bad, but it's pretty bad. And when you're making a game like this, to completely exclude every other pretty much to exclude every other location in the world, -1, is simply just a bad idea. Because if this game does ends up turning out to be, just Pokemon that the Japanese community wanted, then, most of the world technically doesn't even have a reason to get the game. And I really don't want this game to come down to, well, the only Pokemon that we picked were the ones that the Japanese players wanted. I would simply hate to see that, because I mean, we all have stakes in this game. I guess some have larger stakes than others. I really don't know where my stake is in this game, but I do want to see some of the Pokemon that I like to be in the game, just as you guys do. I think so far the character choices have been good. I think Pikachu is questionable, just because, I would much rather not see Pikachu shoehorned into every Pokemon spinoff. But I seriously hope that the actual final version of the game does have some decent releases of like Pokemon selections, just because of the way things have been in in the in the past for things like this, where all the information pretty much comes from Japan for these type of games, even though there is a Western audience for it, and they had no say in what anything of the games would be like. Super Smash Bros. Is pretty much an example of this, where this game is made in Japan pretty much for the Japanese market, but it just gets ported to America, and we just kind of have to take what's in the game. I believe even with the Smash ballot polls even suggest this, like all the high character votes right now. I think King K. Rool is like on the top list, especially with Shovel Knight. But these here are pretty much things that are heavy in the Japanese like community. So any big support stuff like that that's going to happen is going to be based on their preferences first before anything else is considered, which is the way this should not be handled. Um, some other things, people really want to have all the Pokemon that are in Smash Bros. In Pokken Tournament. I simply don't want this. I want Pokken Tournament to be the chance that lesser known Pokemon or lesser seen popular Pokemon, I should say, could actually have a chance to shine and do something. Like, I won't be opposed to Mewtwo, Charizard, or Greninja being in the game because they're simply good character choices for pretty much any fighting game related to Pokemon. But I don't always want to see Pikachu in the game. I really don't want to see Jigglypuff in the game or Pichu. I mean, even Squirtle and Ivysaur. I really don't want to care to see them in the game because they already had their shot, and I kind of want to see other Pokemon get their shot first before they're introduced into the game. I mean, out of the entire 700 roster that Pokemon have, probably a good 450 of them can be playable. Or, yeah, I guess playable. But all of them definitely have a chance to be at least support Pokemon. I really don't know how they're going to have the bigger legendary Pokemon play a role in this game. Things like Lugia, uh-oh. I would personally love to play them, but I don't know how the scale thing is going to work in this game. Because obviously these Pokemon are going to be much larger than the ones that are currently in the game. I believe Machamp is the tallest. Is Machamp the tallest right now? I know the smallest is Pikachu. Lucario's 3 feet 3 inches tall. It's kind of hard to believe that Lucario stands as tall as Vaporeon. That's odd when you think about it. But I think Machamp is the tallest. If Mewtwo makes it into the game, it'll be the tallest. At 6 feet 7 inches. I mean, I really think that's a good height size for any Pokemon. Like, I think anything floating between Lucario's height and like Mewtwo should be fine. But they got Pikachu in, so we can expect to see other Pokemon. I hope Pikachu isn't the only not fully evolved Pokemon in the game, because it'll just create an awkward situation where it pretty much confirms that Pikachu was just shoehorned in. I mean, there are a ton of other Pokemon around Pikachu's height that should be playable. Like, why have Eevee on support when it could be playable? Or why give Pikachu the spot over something like Emoga? I personally think Emoga is more deserving of the spot. I feel its popularity is more than that of Pikachu's. I don't know. I think Emoga has a more realistic popularity than Pikachu. I mean, Pikachu's only popular because you see it everywhere. I mean, every icon for every Pokemon game has Pikachu's face on it. Any sign related to Pokemon has Pikachu on it. I mean, they just throw Pikachu in everything, and it's not like Pikachu is popular because people actually like it. It's just that Pikachu is popular because you just see it all the time. Whereas Pokemon like Evolutions, you don't see them all the time. You don't see them in advertising, but they have this popularity amongst the community because the community actually likes them as characters. And I don't think people like Pikachu as a character. I think people just like Pikachu because they see it all the time. It's the only Pokemon that they really know because it's the one they always see. So I want to see Pokemon like this make it into a Pokken tournament. We really have no idea how this is even going to work. We don't know if they're going to show anything at all. They probably are. I mean, this here is what the last stream we got was last month, it seems like. It might have been longer than that, but we haven't really gotten any information from this game at all. And it's like, they show something, hype builds, but then the hype dies down because we don't hear about it again for a very long time. So hopefully tomorrow we get some new information on what's going to be done. But the biggest thing that I was worried about was this character poll thing. Because if only Japan gets to pick what Pokemon are going to be in a game, then that's going to be a huge problem. Because here in the West, we like certain Pokemon as well, especially ones that might not be popular in Japan, and vice versa. So this is the reason I think it's a bad idea to exclude different demographics from such a voting process. If I were in development of Pokken Tournament, I would take much care to be talking to the Western audience as well as the Japanese audience. I would take care to just talk to everybody or every country in the world where Pokemon is part of the culture and say, hey, what Pokemon do you guys like? Ask everyone. I don't believe doing a poll is the right way to go about that because poll results can be skewed. They can be faked. But just get a general idea of Pokemon people are talking about. Get data from that. See how realistic it is to have the character in the game, and then go from there. Obviously, if people vote, 100% they want Goldeen to be a playable character. In a game like Pokken Tournament where movement is everything, it's not realistic to have Goldeen as a character. So you simply pursue other options. Have Goldeen in the game for sure, but have Goldeen as a support Pokemon where it could just come in and use a move, but it doesn't actually do any fighting. So I have no idea what's going to go down. I guess my hopes for tomorrow, I hope they show off a really awkward Pokemon that like nobody expects. And I'm talking something in the realm of like Wailord. Like Wailord is a playable character. I don't think anybody would like ever expect that, and I think that's kind of what I would love to see. I'm still expecting Hawlucha and Blaziken to be revealed tomorrow. Um, I'm just confused on what this third Pokemon could be, because let's say, for instance, they do reveal 3 Pokemon, or let's not go into that right now. Right now, we know there are 5 Pokemon confirmed. There's Pikachu, there's Suicune, there's Gardevoir, there's Lucario, and there's Machamp. That's 5 Pokemon that have been revealed so far. It's an odd number. Normally when people do character reveals, they try to keep the numbers quite even. So if there is some type of like tournament or something where they're showing off characters, they can always show off 2 characters against 2 new characters in 3 different fights. So it's not like we'll see one character used more often because there are less characters. So if Hawlucha and Blaziken are added to the roster, that'd be 7. We still have that odd number. So the reason I'm thinking there will be a 3 character reveal is because they said they was going to hold a mini tournament, I guess. I don't know if they actually said a mini tournament, but they're going to have the voice actors who play those Pokemon's voices in game, and they're going to have those play those characters and have them fight against each other. Pretty much sounds like a tournament to me. So in tournaments, you want to have as many field spots as possible. You really don't want to give people free wins. I wouldn't want to give somebody a free win. So if I were holding a tournament, I would try to make sure to have every spot filled, but have an even number of spots if possible. I wouldn't turn away attendance if the numbers go odd, but I would want to try to have as many even spots as possible. So I'm thinking this here could possibly be You know, an additional character, so 3 characters. I don't know if the third one could possibly be. I would love the third one to be Pidgeot, to be honest, because it'll be a huge weight off my shoulders knowing that it actually got into the game. But I would love to see another character on all fours in the game. I would love to see that. And out of all the characters that I would love to see, I would want it to be an evolution. Of course, I would want that evolution to be Vaporeon because I feel it's probably the most popular of the evolutions before Sylveon came along. I would enjoy Vaporeon to be revealed tomorrow, but I can't get over the feeling that if they reveal any evolution first, it'll be Sylveon. And this isn't going to be a case of, well, they already have a fairy type Pokemon, so why would they reveal another? It's like, well, they've already got 2 fighting types, and if Hawlucha and Blaziken get revealed tomorrow, that's 4 fighting types. So what's another fairy type to the roster really going to do? Another thing that I kind of wanted to dispel here was, I don't know how often this is going around in the community for Pokken Tournament right now, but just because Pokken Tournament already has a character type of that same type, it doesn't mean we're not going to ever see it again. Like, just because Suicune is in the game doesn't mean we're not going to see Vaporeon or Seismitoad or something like that. We have to look at this purely from a Pokemon standpoint. We have to consider Pokemon typing to be cosmetic and not an actual factor in the game. Remember, most of the charm of the Pokemon comes from the Pokemon itself, not from its typing. People like the evolutions because, well, they're all cute, I guess, would be the best way to put that. But we just have to realize that Pokken Tournament is going to be this game where a lot of Pokemon just get together and just fight. I mean, that's pretty much the best way I can say that. But just because a Pokemon is of a certain typing or of a certain body type, and one makes it in, doesn't mean others aren't going to make it in. Now, I would hate it if Suicune is the only Pokemon in the game of its body type, because I feel there's a lot of potential being wasted here. Like, the game, I want it to be as less of a fighter as possible, as much as a community for Pokemon, if that makes any sense. You know, because the thing about fighting games now is all fighting games incorporate the exact same mechanics, the exact same everything. You know, a Pokemon fighting game, you know, has the potential to just completely shape up just shape up everything. You know, Suicune being in the game is a game changer, in my opinion, if you ask me. I never would have thought Suicune would have made into the game. I seriously thought they would have kept all, you know, 4-legged Pokemon out of the game, but, you know, they're as much as part of this Pokemon as, like, birds are. They're as much as part of Pokemon as, you know, fish are. It's like, yes, it's easy to make a Pokemon fighting game and use things like Lucario as the fighters just because they feel that that character role that fighting games demand. But this here is really a chance for just Pokemon in general to shine. You know, this isn't Smash Bros. This isn't Tekken, I guess would be the best way to say that. But this is Pokemon, and Pokemon encompasses many different animal types, and they should all have a chance to be playable. Now, it's unrealistic at this point in time to expect every single Pokemon to be playable in Pokken Tournament. That's not something that's realistically feasible, I guess. But the thing that we should want is we should want fan favorites in first. We get those in, and then we can actually see how the players take the game, because I want Pokken Tournament to do well. I want there to be DLC for this game. I want this game to be as fan supported is possible. Only problem with that is I don't know. Like, I don't want this game to be extremely easy. Like, I've been looking at reviews online and stuff like that for the game. Obviously, it's not out, but just early impressions of what some people thinking about the game. Even some of the competitive people of the game, they say, well, this game isn't as in depth as they would like it to be. And we really want to have that community of high tier players, but they say as well it's too watered down. It's too easy to play. And the problem with games is when they're too easy to play, you kind of create this false impression of skill. Like, I like to play games where I can more or less be skillful, where I don't simply just lose to people because the game is just so easy to play, everything works. Like, this here is the reason I think people like Super Smash Brothers Melee so much, is because the game requires such a high level of skill that in most games it's going to come down to skill. Like, I will never pick up a GameCube controller and play against somebody who never played Smash before, or somebody who's played the game before but has very little knowledge of how the game works. They just do stuff, and they would win. This simply isn't the case in Super Smash Bros. Melee. A player who's never played the game isn't going to pick up a controller and beat me in Melee. It's simply not going to happen. I'm too skilled for it. Now, I'm not skilled enough to play at Evo in Melee. I get four-stocked by everybody there, but I know enough about the game to not get completely destroyed by somebody. And this simply isn't the case with, say, for instance, Smash 4. Anybody can pick up the controller and play, and anybody can win. And that's not what I want this game here to suffer. I don't want this game to suffer that, where anybody can just pick up the controller and win. Let me see, I think there was something else in there that I wanted to talk about. Yeah, I just kind of got a lot of traffic in this room right now, so it's really hard to keep my train of thought. But yeah, I really don't want Pokken Tournament to be this game where it's just too easy to win, and that's the way it's shaping up. Like, I'm still gonna play this game regardless. I mean, there's no way I'm not going to. It's a Pokemon fighting game. We've been wanting this for a very long time, and it's happening. But there's always that thing in the back of my mind that's like, you know what? There's a chance that this game is going to be too easy. Like, I don't want the fact that it's Pokemon to be the deciding factor of it being extremely easy. You know, it's like, yeah, Pokemon is. I guess you can say it's a children's game and they have to be able to play it, but I still demand a level of complexity from the games that I play. I really don't want the games to be extremely easy because it taints the actual skill that the game actually needs. Because now we have people who think they're good at fighting games just because they can push a couple buttons in Pokken Tournament. You know, fighting game fundamentals carry over from game to game. Like, I can take my fundamentals from Mortal Kombat and take them over to Street Fighter. I can take my fundamentals from Street Fighter and take them over to Tekken, and take those over to Killer Instinct and stuff as well, because these games have certain things that you have to keep in mind. Things like spacing, things like frame data, just trying to be safe, I guess, is a safe way to put it. But all of these fighting games, they have things that you take from one game to another, and I really don't feel like that's going to be the case with this game here. Only time can tell though. Game's not out, and we just got betas and just little live streams. So let me see. I guess who I'm not sure who I'm really expecting to be revealed tomorrow. I guess now that I think about it. I mean, there are so many possible choices. I mean, there are a lot of choices, really. I would like to see an evolution get revealed tomorrow. That'd be cool. I actually don't even know. There's so many good choices for the spot, but I feel another character representation of a Pokemon that moves on all four should be put in the game. I mean, Arcanine would be a good reveal. I'd sell for Keldeo. I mean, ideally, I would like a bird to be revealed at this point, just so I know they can be in the game. That's the only thing that's really worrying me right now, is that they just don't put any in. But I feel that'd be almost as an injustice as like not putting in Suicune into the game, that you think about it. I don't know, there are just way too many choices of Pokemon that can be put in. Because I mean, out of 714, I had to pick three. Actually, I picked two, and I'm expecting them to reveal Blaziken just because if that screenshot is factual, then they've already got something for Blaziken complete. So I'm expecting that at some point. And I mean, Hawlucha is always just a good character pick for the game, and it fits in that same character size as Lucario. So that'd be interesting to see. Man, I really don't know who that other third character can be. I mean, I know this here is like a concerns video for like Pokken tournament, and I can go on for days about concerns, I guess. I guess another thing that we really don't know anything about is like, does this game use type advantage at all? Like this here is pretty much a Pokemon game, and Pokemon games, they are heavy with their their type matchups and such. So I mean, do we have to expect super effective hits? Because I mean, if that's the case, obviously you're going to have to learn multiple characters to be able to play them, and that kind of stays true to the spirit of Pokemon because you have these six Pokemon teams where you use Pokemon that you feel have a better matchup against somebody else. So obviously you won't play Suicune against a Pikachu if something like a type advantage is actually a thing. Like I would love to hear tomorrow if type advantage is actually going to play a role in this game, because that's gonna be huge for certain matchups. And how exactly is type role going to work? Like, is it going to work the same way as the Pokemon games where Zapdos would take neutral damage from electric type attacks, or would it work in such a way where Zapdos takes not very effective damage from lightning type attacks just because of the fact it is a lightning type? Like, we have to remember, in Gen 1, Zapdos was weak to lightning and Articuno was weak to ice. Like, that is something we have to keep in mind. I know it's not something we can ever fathom now, but that used to be a thing. So it would be interesting to know that if any of my favorites did make it into the game, would they actually resist certain types? Like, if Pidgeot did make it into the game, would would Pidgeot resist all of Machamp's fighting type attacks? Or do attacks even have certain elemental properties? Because this here kind of might not work, because in Pikachu's case, if Pikachu had to fight, say for example, Garchomp, none of his lightning type attacks would do anything to it, and Pikachu would always have to initiate um, physical combat with it in order to get any damage on it. So I mean, it'll be interesting to find out. I mean, if it doesn't, then it's not going to mean anything because this means all attacks are purely cosmetic, and it doesn't matter who it hits, it will always do damage. Or if it does have type advantage, then it's going to create some complex metas, which actually might be good for this game just because of the fact that it'll keep certain Pokemon from being overpowered because it'll do well against one but not well against another. And that's kind of the problem with a lot of fighting games now. Like in the new Mortal Kombat game, they had character variations where all characters had 3 versions of themselves that they could play to kind of skew the tier system a little bit. So one variation might be good against another character's variation, and kind of goes from like that. But games like Tekken, there are clearly tier lists for the game because some characters are faster than others. Some characters are more powerful than others. Some characters are fast and powerful. Some examples would be Lars, Bob. You know, these are characters that play at the highest level and have almost no competition because they do what they do really well. Some characters either too slow or they just don't do enough damage. And for a game like this, like let's say the game gets released in its final version and it turns out Machamp is extremely overpowered. That means Machamp won't be able to fight against Gardevoir extremely well just because Gardevoir resists Machamp's attacks. This might also be the case for Suicune. Like Suicune might be extremely overpowered because of how good and effective its range attacks are. But not saying a character like Pikachu would be good against it, but we can say, for example, that a flying type might be useful against it. Like if you looked at any of Suicune's moves, none of its attacks were ever aimed in the air. They've always been either like center mass or something like that. So a character that can fly around and avoid those attacks would be good against it because now Suicune has to do something else instead of just shooting Aurora Beams at a Pokemon that's in front of it. So this could be interesting to see how it works. And it actually creates alternate matchups. I mean, obviously you have to find a way to balance flying types for a fighting game because obviously you just don't want them flying all over the field. But this is Namco Bandai, and they'll find a way to balance it. I mean, it's not like they've never worked with flyers before, so I have complete faith in them that they can do some justice with the flying types. Still, I say just don't make them fly in the air constantly. Have them grounded most of the time, but they can go into the air if needed. And plus, we got Lucario jumping like 50 feet in the air, so that might work. I mean, nothing is inaccessible in the Pokemon universe, I should say. I mean, even Garchomp can fly. I don't even understand that one. Let me see, what else? I mean, like, what other hopes do we have for this game, really? I mean, we've seen enough to where we kind of expect something, but I really want to know how the stat system works. So hopefully we get to see that in action tomorrow. Maybe these characters, because they're using a card system where you put the card in a machine, it saves your data to the card, and you put the card in, it loads the data from that Pokemon on that card, and you play as that Pokemon with your stats. It uses the exact same technology as the Amiibos, so hopefully we get to see something cool come from that at least. I really want to see more about how stats work tomorrow. I want to know if you can do something as basic as like reset your stats if you wanted to retrain a character, or if you had to have multiple versions of a Pokemon card. Like, for example, I would not be opposed to owning like 7 or 8 different cards for Vaporeons, all with different sets on it in terms of stat spread. Like maybe I want one that's fast and powerful. Maybe I want one that's tanky and has more health to deal with. Or maybe I just kind of want an all-around balance. where I can kind of fill out my opponent and use any other adjustments that I might need from that. Like that'd be really cool to see that. I just hopefully they talk about it some more tomorrow though, because I just really want to get an in-depth analysis on how it actually works. Like I want to know if it's going to be anything similar to what it is in Tekken Revolution, or if it's something completely different. Like Tekken Revolution uses 3 stats. This game uses 5, I think. So I would want to see how cool that is. I would like to know how many points you get when you level up. I would like to know how easy it is to level up. It'd also be cool to learn if you could level up your assist as well. Like that's a completely different part of the game. Oh man, it feels like tomorrow's not coming fast enough. Like I'm really trying to get hyped for this. I think I am hyped for it. I'm just a little tired right now. I got up early thinking something was supposed to start today, but turns out that also starts tomorrow too, so I'm looking forward to that as well. But more Pokken tournament news is definitely going to be the highlight of my day, and we got an hour stream, so hopefully I wake up in time for me to catch it. If not, footage is always available online. I can get it. So do look forward to my analysis on that. We're going on 46 minutes here, and I really don't think I have anything else that I would like to talk about. So I'm just going to end it here. Like, so what you guys? I mean, tell me your concerns you have for the game, if there are any. Like, the biggest concern that I do have for the game is that this game is going to be exclusively developed on information from Japan, and that would suck because like I said, things that Japan finds popular, we don't find popular. And since we will also be getting this game, it'll be better to have feedback from all major regions where Pokemon is part of the culture, and Pokemon is a huge part of American culture right now. At least for, well, I guess I can say it is. I mean, it's not football by any means, but I mean, Pokemon is still a pretty big deal here. So we should also have our feedback mean something as well. And hopefully that the developers do see that and they see some of my concerns, and hopefully they can address those concerns. So I guess if any of you guys who are watching this work for the Pokemon Company International, Game Freaks, or whatever, that maybe you guys can, you know, lay to rest some of the concerns that I actually have for the game, because if I have these concerns, then there are definitely for sure other people that have the concerns. I'm always looking online for information or just for anything that the community may have to say about this game. I will try to voice it. And one of the things that the community is kind of talking about is they really don't want to see all the Pokemon in Smash be in this game, because they they're like me in this instance. They want to see other Pokemon have a chance to be put in the spotlight. Like I'm still surprised not a single evolution has ever made it into a Smash game. I'm very surprised about that. So hopefully we can get that fixed here, and we can see some Pokemon that don't show up in games show up in other games. So I guess this here is going to be the end of this video. Like I said, post in the comments below any concerns that you guys may have about Pokken Tournament, your character wishes that you would like to be in the game, because we have to let them know that, you know, America has wishes for this game as well as other countries. Europe, for example, they also have Pokemon they would like to be into this game. There are a lot of countries out there. I'm not going to name them all, but I'm saying there are people outside of Japan that have stakes in this game. And I guess just stand by for tomorrow until I can get my analysis out on any new information that should come out. If it does, hopefully my character predictions pan out. But like I said, I have no idea what any of the three can possibly be. I'm just expecting Hawlucha and Blaziken to be revealed. So if that does happen, there'd be some cool points. I got to put on my sunglasses and be like, yep, that was all me. But as always, I want to thank you guys for taking the time out of your day to watch my videos, and I hope to see you all in the next one.